And now an Action News Now exclusive. For the first time, we're showing you what the first firefighters at that scene saw when they pulled up to see the Bidwell Mansion already engulfed in flames. In this helmet camera video, you'll hear the firefighters surprised that this was initially dispatched as just an illegal burn.
360 complete, fully involved on all sides. No change to the IEP. Will remain defensive. Continue to balance second alarm.
Alright, copy. You're going to be shutting down Esplanade Lane and the Solino.
That's a hell of a surprise.
Out there.
Illegal burn to this.
Yeah.
We'll advise them to shut it down.
Can you want to get closer?
We need to get closer, but I mean, we gotta shut this line down about 100 feet.
Go down 100 feet?
We're gonna bring it down 100.
Okay.
5.
Why don't you hit right there while we're waiting? Jesus.
Fire 5.
How did this happen?
No, it came in as an illegal burn. We have imminent collapse coming from either the scaffolding or the tower.
Now, in that video, we also heard firefighters calling for Cal Water to boost the water to the hydrants. The fire had burned for more than an hour before it was reported. Investigators are looking into why the fire alarm did not sound that morning. I've reached out to the alarm company for an explanation. I'm going to update you as I learn more about that part of the story. Some big changes are coming to make the roads safer in the South Campus area near Chico State. Action News Now reporter Diego Moctezuma is live at West 4th and Cherry Street in Chico. Diego, what are the changes that are going to be happening there?
Well, Kelly, where I'm at is just one of the 19 intersections where yield signs like these behind me here will soon become stop signs. Chico City Council says Public Works could be installing these stop signs as soon as in the next couple weeks. Now, Public Works recently joined in Chico State's annual Moonlight Walk, where groups take a look around nearby neighborhoods to downtown to go over safety concerns. Participants requested that yield signs should be changed to stop signs in the South Campus area. And students I talked to say four-way stops would be safer rather than the mixed number of yield signs and stop signs.
When I come to a yield, I end up almost slowing down to a stop anyway, just because it's really hard to see past all of the parked cars that are on the street. And I've seen a lot of accidents happen over in like the original Chico Streets area where I think you said they were going to put the stop signs. So I do think that it would be helpful.
Councilmember Addison Winslow tells me the work will fix the inconsistency of stop and yield signs. He says there has been minor and deadly collisions in years past here on the south side of campus, and they hope this will reduce that risk of accidents in the future. The campus area is not the only part of town to see safety changes. The intersection at Eaton Road and Mariposa Avenue will have a new traffic signal in the next 2 years. But for now, the existing two-way stop will also be changed to a four-way stop. And Eaton Road from East Lassen Avenue to Wildwood Park is under roadway design right now, with construction happening next year. Live in Chico, I'm Diego Moctezuma with Action News Now.
Good to give people an early heads up on those changes. Thanks, Diego. Installing the stop signs is estimated to cost less than $12,000 for the whole project. New this morning, Reading police responded to a domestic violence incident late last night. There was a large police presence in the area of Mission de Oro Drive in northeast Reading that has since dispersed. Reading police say they responded to a domestic violence call just after 10 last night. So far, police are not confirming if anyone was injured or arrested. Reading police did tell us they'll release more information later today, and we'll keep you updated on air and online. Butte County is asking for your input on the updated fire hazard severity zone map before the public comment period closes. The state fire marshal and CAL FIRE recently released this updated local responsibility area fire hazard severity zone map for Butte County. The highlighted areas in red, like Paradise and Northeast Chico, indicate those are very high fire hazard zones. After new maps are released, the county opens a 90-day public comment period, so you can ask any questions and submit feedback. The last day to do that is May 13th. You can leave feedback by emailing FHSZ information@fire.ca.gov or call 916-633-7655. To see the full map and more information, head to our website, look under News and then News Links. 6:08 is the time on this Wednesday morning. You're never more than 10 minutes away from a local weather update on Action News Now. Court is in the Weather Center tracking more wet weather as we just continue to stack it up, which is great news.
Yeah, it's what we want to see, and the storm system that's rolling in today is going to bring some decent showers. The threat of thunderstorms, however, could leave us with some heavier rain across portions of our region later today, and that could be a bigger impact, and snow in the mountains also in the forecast. So some good news out there. This doesn't look like it's going to be an overwhelming system, but it will add to those rain totals that are still sitting around or a little above average for us for this part of the wet season. As far as what we're seeing outside this morning, though, it's going to be a mild commute as you head out the door early on today. No impacts as you head to work or school this morning, but that's going to change as we head towards that commute home this afternoon. Here's Highway 99 in Chico around the Skyway overpass. Now, rain and snow in the forecast for today. That looks very likely. The threat of thunderstorms also arriving this afternoon into this evening. Mountain showers lingering Thursday will mostly dry out in the valley. Then will be dry and warmer Friday and staying pretty mild this weekend before another cool down with more shower chances return next week. Now, we've got the winter weather advisory in effect through 4 p.m. Thursday. That started at 4 a.m. this morning. That's for areas of the northern Sierra down to 4,000 feet, and down to 4,000 feet we could be dealing with 3 to 8 inches of snow, although the projections keep us under around a half a foot for the most part right now. Temperatures at the moment in the mid to upper 40s in the valley, 30s to mid 40s in the foothills, 20s to 30s in the Sierra and southern Cascades, and 30s to low 40s in the northern mountains. So we're starting out 3 to 5 degrees cooler for most valley areas compared to yesterday, but Orville specifically up by 1 degree right now. Winds pretty calm this morning. They're going to stay on the lighter side through the day, so winds are not going to be a big impact. The exception there would be if we do see thunderstorm activity developing. Locally gusty winds around thunderstorms could be possible. Satellite and radar clouds streaming overhead, but dry overnight. The threat of thunderstorms widespread across the majority of our region today. That includes the valley, foothills, and northern Sierra. At 8 a.m., clouds overhead, but dry for most of us. We'll see the chance for some showers really starting to ramp up in the Sierra by midday. The latest projections are showing conditions staying mostly dry in the valley until late this afternoon into this evening, and that's when that threat of heavier rain and thunderstorms ramps up across northern California, and then snow persisting overnight in the mountains with some lingering showers in the valley into very early tomorrow morning. Your midday lunch forecast, mid to upper 50s with a slight chance for showers and cloudy skies, and high temperatures today below average. Mid to upper 50s for the valley, 40s to lower 50s in the foothills and northern mountains, and mostly 40s in the Sierra this afternoon. Kelly, I'm tracking what's driving this active weather to ramp up across our region coming up in less than 10 minutes.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Court. And we're just getting started with our new local stories for you. We now know where the next homeless camps will be cleared out in Chico.
The government is prone to growing, and it doesn't like to be limited. It doesn't like to be pruned back.
We spoke to Congressman Doug LaMalfa after President Trump's speech to Congress last night. We'll tell you also what California Senator Alex Padilla released in a statement regarding that speech. And be prepared for one-way traffic control and delays on Whiskey Creek Bridge in Whiskeytown starting today. We'll tell you why. Last night, President Donald Trump gave his vision for his second term in a speech before Congress. Reporter Natalie Brand reflects on the president's theme, renewal of the American dream, and some of the key issues he touched on, like immigration, national security, and the economy.
America is back.
President Donald Trump got a rousing reception from Republicans. From the Democrats, there was dissent. Texas Congressman Al Green was escorted away.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum.
During his speech, the president asked Congress for more funding of border security. He doubled down on cuts to the federal government.
I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring.
Following Friday's clash, President Trump played up a new letter from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table.
The president also announced that one of the suspected planners behind the 2021 bombing attack that killed 13 U.S. service members outside Kabul airport in Afghanistan has been arrested.
The economy was the main topic of the night. President Trump defended putting new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, and he pledged to put reciprocal tariffs on other countries next month.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again.
Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin delivered the Democratic response.
There's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way.
A CBS News poll showed that a heavily Republican audience approved of the president's speech.
And overnight, the Commerce Secretary said the administration will announce some modifications to those tariffs against Canada and Mexico as soon as today, though they're not planning to eliminate the tariffs. We spoke with local Congressman Doug LaMalfa after President Trump's speech on some of the matters he discussed, including political polarization.
Politics is more polarized, I think, than maybe it ever has been. If you read back even 200 years ago, how they used to talk about each other, they've had a lot more flowery and colorful terms, but they went at each other pretty hard too. They just didn't have instant internet and television coverage of it. You had to read about it, and not many people read about it. So politics has always been really tough, but right now it's much more readily broadcast. And it is too bad. I think the Reagan era did enjoy a lot more cohesiveness there. He and Tip O'Neill were really good friends, and I wish we had more of that here right now. But when you fight back the way Trump does on how far our country has gone in a particular direction, the other side digs in on it.
Democratic Senator from California Alex Padilla released a two-sentence response to President Trump's speech, saying tonight's speech was a disgrace. California and the American people deserve better. Happening today, a Butte County man will continue his arraignment after he was arrested for arson. We reported over the weekend that Jeremy Barker had been arrested for starting a house fire on February 23rd on Wycliffe Way in Magalia. He was arrested on a count of arson to an inhabited building and one count of using an accelerant during the arson. A traffic alert this morning. If you drive Whiskey Creek Bridge in Whiskeytown in Shasta County, you may want to plan for delays. Happening today, crews will start the Bridge Monitoring System project at the Whiskey Creek Bridge on Highway 299. Crews will install a bridge safety and structural monitoring system to help extend the life of the bridge. One-way traffic control will be in effect Monday through Friday between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. You can expect up to 20-minute delays. The project should be finished by the end of April. 6:18 on this Wednesday. Up next, you don't want to miss this. We're going to introduce you to the Sacramento Zoo's newest addition. Tell you all about this newborn giraffe. And checking your drive, a live look at your drive at Highway 32 at Main Street in downtown Chico. We're collision-free to start this Wednesday. It's a girl. The Sacramento Zoo just announced the birth of a new giraffe. The mom, Amora, gave birth on Saturday, and the zoo announced the calf was on her feet within 2 hours and started nursing shortly after that. The mother and calf will be given bonding time. The official debut date for the public to see the new calf will depend on the pair's health and welfare, but she looks pretty good. The zoo now has 5 female giraffes, including this new calf.
A new calf that was taller than us.
Yeah.
The second she was born.
One of the coolest animals ever.
She's adorable. Yes. And okay, so we went to the Sacramento Zoo for Father's Day a couple of years back, and we got to feed the giraffes. It's an absolute blast.
That sounds so fun.
It's a lot of fun, and so if you haven't been able to check that out, I would highly recommend it. It's going to be just something that you'll never forget. Today, maybe not the day to head out there. So find some
nothing
cover.
Like the smell of wet giraffe.
Afternoon. Yeah, nothing like it. They're such a unique animal, by the way. And checking in with what I'm tracking for you this morning, a lot of cloud cover overhead, and that's what we're seeing over Shasta County right now. In this live look from the South Forks lookout camera located just to the north of Whiskeytown, northwest of Redding in Shasta County, looking southeast over the northern end of the valley. So a lot of cloud cover overhead, a beautiful shot this morning. Low pressure off the coast of California and Oregon, mostly Oregon and far northern California, as well as another trough to our south and central California, tapping into a pretty decent moisture plume. It's going to bring the threat of showers later on today into this evening, so be prepared. It's going to be a tale of 2 impacts for today. No real impact this morning, and then big impacts possible from this afternoon into this evening. Satellite and radar overnight showing plenty of clouds streaming overhead. Still cloudy but dry at 8 a.m. The latest projections, these are the updated models in the last hour. They're showing us staying dry through noon. Earlier models were hinting at some showers already popping up in Butte and Glenn counties by noon. Now it looks like that's backing off on that. And then that threat of shower and pop-up thunderstorm activity moving through the valley by the afternoon commute home, lasting into this evening. Lingering snow showers in the mountains overnight with some showers potentially lingering into the morning commute tomorrow in the valley, and then wrapping up with showers lingering in the Sierra and southern Cascades in the afternoon, but drying out with clearing skies in the valley through the day tomorrow. Daisy and Yoda are going to want to get out and about through early this afternoon before that threat of active weather ramps up later today. Mid to upper 40s for your walk the dog forecast in the valley to start the day. Mid to upper 50s in the afternoon, but again, that chance for showers and thunderstorms ramping up later on. Threat of showers ramping up across the Sierra early to midday today, really ramping up later on into this evening. Starting out in the 30s for the Sierra this morning for the most part, 20s to 30s, ending up in the mid to upper 40s for the afternoon. 40s to lower 50s in the northern mountains, but more than likely staying dry for the better part of the day. And then so it's poor for outdoor work today if you're working outside later on this afternoon, improving tomorrow, and then good for Friday and Saturday. So some improvements heading your way. Kelly, in just a couple of minutes, I'm timing out that morning commute in the next 6-hour forecast, and not too long after that, I'm showing you when rain and snow is returning to your backyard.
Thanks, Court. Now it's time to talk money news. You know, yesterday the Dow tumbled 670 points and the NASDAQ dropped 65 after the U.S. started tariffs against Mexico and Canada. I checked and Dow futures are pointed down slightly today. NASDAQ's actually pointing up. We're going to check those opening numbers at the bottom of the hour. Here's Jesse Mitchell with a look at today's money headlines.
2 ports near the Panama Canal will soon be under U.S. control. That's after the Hong Kong-based firm that owns the ports struck a $23 billion deal to sell all of their shares to a group led by American investment company BlackRock. President Donald Trump praised the deal during his joint address to Congress last night after weeks of pushing for the U.S. to take the canal back. The deal also gives the BlackRock consortium controlling interest for ports in 23 other countries, including Mexico, Egypt, and Australia. Austin, Texas is now the latest city to shift into self-driving cars. Riders there can now hail an autonomous vehicle through Uber's partnership with Waymo. The robo-taxi company already operates in Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. The partnership between Uber and Waymo is expected to expand to the East Coast later this year in Atlanta. And Mattel has released its new line of Barbies, celebrating friendship for International Women's Day. Among the duos honored are U.S. gymnastics gold medalists and teammates Jade Carey and Jordan Childs. Both women say they hope their dolls will inspire the next generation of female athletes. International Women's Day is March 8th. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Don't move a muscle. We're working new local stories you need to know about. It could soon be less expensive for offices to open in downtown Chico. Reporter Diego Moctezuma talked to a member of the Chico Internal Affairs Committee about why they think it could attract more people downtown. And 2 roads through Lower Bidwell Park will now be closed to vehicles on weekends. Reporter Margot Rowe was at the City Council meeting explaining why they made this decision.
Yeah, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6. Mic check 1 2 3 4.
Today on Action News Now Mornings, vacant first floor buildings in downtown Chico might become less expensive to open up a business. Action News Now reporter Diego Moctezuma reports on what's going to be changing. Today, 2 suspects arrested for killing 2 people and burning their bodies will be back in court in Butte County. We're going to look at where their case stands. And new this morning, Caltrans crews have started working on this emergency road repair in Siskiyou County. We'll tell you where there could be delays. All next this Wednesday, March 5th on Action News Now. A live check of your drive before you head out. This is Highway 99 at Skyway in Chico, and no wet roads just yet, but that's going to be changing in a matter of hours, and court is tracking when that wet weather is going to arrive, and some areas could see snow.
Yeah, that's right. And what we're seeing for today now, the latest projections have come out and they're pushing back a little bit on the time frame here. So you may have a little more time before you have to contend with the active weather, but it still very much is in the forecast, arriving later today and especially ramping up this afternoon into the evening hours. So be prepared. What you're contending with as you head out the door this morning is not what you're going to be contending with later on today. Cloudy skies overhead, and you can see them very prominently covering our region in this live look from the Deer Creek Highway camera up Highway 32 east of Chico, looking west over Butte and Glenn counties. So clouds streaming overhead, but dry so far. And again, it's going to be a dry start to the day, but that won't be the case this afternoon and evening. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 40s for the valley, 30s to mid 40s in the foothills, 20s to low 40s in our mountain zones this morning. And checking in with what I'm tracking for you over the next 6 hours, it's going to be a bit of a slow warm up today. back to the upper 40s by 9 a.m., lower 50s by 10 a.m., mid 50s by noon, with a little sunshine breaking through midday. That might heat things up enough to kick off some thunderstorm activity and instability this afternoon. Meanwhile, we have the winter weather advisory in effect through 4 p.m. Thursday. That started at 4 a.m. this morning, and that's for the northern Sierra down to 4,000 feet due to snowfall heavy enough potentially to cause some travel impacts. I'll be tracking that rain and snow arriving, what time that's now expected to arrive in your backyard, and how long this chance for active weather is going to stick around, coming up in less than 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll see you then, Court. Happening today, the two suspects arrested for shooting and killing two people near Oroville and then burning their bodies will be back in court. Police say Samuel Ashley and Wesley Evans traveled from Humboldt County to Oroville on January 30th, along with the victims. Deputies say Ashley and at least one of the victims argued about a gun and drug transaction and then drove to Condor Road near Red Tape Road in Butte County. The bodies of the victims were later found in a car that had been set on fire. Those victims are Juan Areola Solano and Esquel Valle Ariano. Both suspects have further arraignments today at 8:30 a.m. The city of Chico just announced the next 3 locations where they're going to clear out homeless camps. The city determined there are 10 people camping on the Lindo Channel from Cusick Avenue to Footbridge to Manzanita Avenue. Another location will be on Big Chico Creek from Arcadian Avenue to Manzanita Avenue. There are 3 abandoned or unoccupied campsites at that location. And the third location will be on the bike path from Skyway to East 20th Street. 7-day notices will be handed out next Tuesday, March 11th. Vacant first-floor buildings in downtown Chico could become less expensive to open up a business in. Action News Now reporter Diego Moctezuma is live in Chico this morning. Diego, what's changed?
Well, Kelly, the Internal Affairs Committee sent a recommendation to lower the barrier to apply to lease space to open an office downtown, like over here at this building. Now, right now, to have an office on ground level, you need a conditional use permit that costs $14,000, and it must be approved by the Planning Commission. On Tuesday, the committee discussed lowering it to a $1,000 fee with no public hearing. One member tells me he wants to see occupants that will attract more people to downtown.
Like the Downtown Chico Business Association office is in the Diamond Hotel building, and that has some interaction with the public, and so we consider that that's a good use. You know, it actually does invite people to come down here. It's not just employees who park here, who stay there all day, and doesn't really add to the environment of encouraging people to walk around here.
Councilmember Addison Winslow says he would like to see more residential housing in downtown too. He says any new housing developments do not need to provide parking spaces for each unit if there are fewer than 20 units built. Now, the recommendation will be discussed for approval at the next Chico City Council meeting. Live in downtown Chico, I'm Diego Moctezuma with Action News Now.
Okay, could be some big changes. Thanks, Diego. Apartments in the commercially zoned downtown are only allowed above the first floor. Special approval is needed for first floor residential development. New this morning, Caltrans crews have started emergency work on road repairs on Highway 96. Take a look at these photos. Crews have started the emergency slip-out repairs just 5 miles east of Happy Camp. That work includes pavement repairs and drilling for geotechnical investigations and permanent restoration. Now, if you plan to drive that area, plan for 24/7 one-way traffic control with up to 5-minute delays. Today, the town of Paradise will have a meeting to discuss the future of the sewer project. Plans for connecting to the Chico water treatment plant were scrapped when the cost estimate came in at twice the initial estimates. Now the town of Paradise is considering options to build a smaller water treatment plant right there in the town of Paradise. Tonight's meeting will be at Town Hall starting at 6 p.m. And they also have a new website with updates on this project. We have a link to that at actionnewsnow.com. And a traffic alert. Most of the roads through Lower Bidwell Park will be closed to cars on weekends and holidays starting this Saturday. Action News Now reporter Margot Rowe was at last night's Chico City Council meeting showing us what led to that decision.
For the next 6 months, 2 roads in Bidwell Park will be closed to vehicular traffic on weekends and national holidays.
The direction tonight was to close South Park Drive from Caper Acres to Centennial to vehicular traffic, close Peterson Memorial Drive in its entirety to vehicular traffic on weekends and national holidays for a 6-month trial. We're leaving South Park Drive open to vehicular traffic from the Cypress entrance to Caper Acres.
The decision happened with several reasons in mind, from locals and council members citing safety concerns, environmental concerns, but it eventually came down to the projects to repave the 2 roadways, with Peterson Drive to be repaved this summer.
Don't close both roads to vehicular traffic.
However, it was split during public comment, where half of the speakers were in favor of closing the roads to vehicles and the other half was not. One Chico mom shared how she and her disabled son love driving through the park together.
One of the things that we really enjoy doing together is actually driving through the park. He has a disability and he has some limitations. He's limited, and that's just one of the ways that we enjoy the park, so I wanted to make sure that the council members were aware of that, and a couple of them definitely are. Unfortunately, they still voted to close it regardless of that they're not going to be working on it for a few more months.
The outcry persuaded Vice Mayor Dale Bennett and Mayor Casey Reynolds to vote no on the closure, but it still passed 5-2, with other council members in favor for several reasons.
I think the fact that it's just on weekends and it's for a trial period makes me more comfortable doing this, because we'll be able to see at the end if it really has had this disrupting effect. And other people might find that, like, hey, I go out there in my wheelchair, I go out there with my stroller, and I feel more comfortable as a result of this,
Several council members brought up the idea of having shuttle services or pedal cabs implemented in the park and directed city staff to look into it. However, those opposed of the closure weren't fans of that idea either.
Their heart is in the right place, but I think that we need to remember that we each individually need to be able to make choices for ourselves as people with disabilities. We don't need someone else to decide what kinds of accommodations they're going to make for us. We want to be able to speak up for ourselves and say we'd like to be able to just continue to do what we've already been doing.
The roads will be closed starting this weekend on Saturday, March 8th. Reporting in Chico, I'm Margot Rowe for Action News Now.
The Chico Public Works Director Eric Gustafson said if the council decides to ban cars altogether, it would help the city save money on project and design costs when it comes to the work that will eventually be done on South Park Drive. You're never more than 10 minutes away from a local weather update. This is an important one. We've got rounds of wet weather moving in. Court, how soon before we see rain in the valley today?
Well, now the latest projections are actually pushing that time frame back a little bit towards the mid-afternoon hours as opposed to around noon, which is what the projections were showing just an hour ago. So this is a very fluid system as we have 2 separate areas of low pressure really influencing our weather pattern for today. They're both along the west coast right now, one just to our northwest, the other one to our south. So that's what's playing a role in the timing, really going back and forth. But nonetheless, it looks very likely by mid-afternoon, we've got some active weather you're going to be contending with, and that thankfully is not the case as you're heading out the door this morning. Here's the live look over Highway 99 in North Chico around the Eaton Road area. No impact to travel as you're heading out the door this morning, but again, don't let that fool you. We do have active weather very likely by this afternoon and really ramping up into this evening. Winter weather advisory now in effect for the northern Sierra down to 4,000 feet. That'll last through 4 p.m. Thursday. Could be seeing snow levels as low as 3,000 feet. A dusting of snow, a mix of rain and snow down to 2,500 feet. 3 to 8 inches of snow will be possible down to 4,000 feet. So that's a pretty decent impact to mountain travel. Temperatures 40s for the valley, 30s to mid 40s in the foothills, and 20s to low 40s in our mountain zones this morning. So pretty mild again for those temperatures overnight. Winds modest out of the north this morning. Not seeing anything to write home about the winds today, but they'll gust up to around maybe 15 miles an hour or so out of the southeast. Winds staying lighter for most of tomorrow, and then we'll see some breezy north winds developing on Friday as we dry out on the backside of this wet system rolling through. Gust up to around 20 miles an hour or so on Friday, but again, that's not a huge impact on us. Satellite and radar, plenty of cloud cover overhead overnight. Starting to see some returns coming up on the radar. That's just showing that moisture becoming more abundant above, not necessarily hitting the ground. And again, we've got 2 separate troughs along the west coast that are going to be feeding this moisture plume north into our region. Now, one right now along the coast of central California is keeping that moisture to the south of us, but we've got this second trough rolling inland across the far northern California and Oregon region. It's going to pull more of that moisture north overhead, heading into the afternoon and evening. 8 a.m. we're projected to be dry. At noon, we're still mostly projected to stay dry. Some showers starting to work into the northern Sierra. And then by mid-afternoon into late afternoon, the threat of showers and thunderstorms popping up in the valley heading into this evening. Snow persisting in the mountains. We'll then see showers overnight into very early Wednesday or Thursday. Just in time for that morning commute. It looks like we're still seeing some showers out there, but those will wrap up early on in the day for the valley by late afternoon in the higher elevations. And then we're left with sunshine and dry conditions with a warm up on Friday, staying pretty mild and dry through the weekend forecast with sunny skies Saturday and mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies Sunday, and then more widespread showers on tap for Monday with another cooling trend and heavier rain and snow returning for the middle of next week. Rain totals, this is for what we're projecting today. And again, a lot of this is between around 4 p.m. to midnight tonight. We're going to see up to a ½ inch possible for the valley and foothills. Less than that in some of our higher elevations. Some areas of the valley may get less than 1/10 of an inch of rain from this system. It's really dependent on where those thunderstorms pop up. Then checking in with what we're seeing early to midweek next week. Rain totals ½ inch to 1 inch in the valley, 1.5 inches or so for the foothills possible. Snow totals for today and through tomorrow, less than ½ foot now projected, down to 5,000 feet. 1 inch or 2 down to 4,500 feet. And then again, those next rounds rolling in next week are going to be much more substantial, and 2 to 3 feet of snow possible in the Sierra, up to a foot in the northern mountains. Checking in with temperatures today, 50s for the northern mountains, 40s for the Sierra and southern Cascades, foothills, 40s to lower 50s, and mid to upper 50s for the valley for the most part this afternoon. That threat of showers and thunderstorms ramping up late afternoon into this evening. Moving forward, showers mostly wrapping up early in the day on Thursday, then mostly sunny skies. Sunny and warmer Friday, mild with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies this weekend, and then another cooling trend with showers Monday through the middle of next week.
Okay, we're ready. Thanks, Court. And stay right there. We're just getting started. We're going to check the opening numbers from Wall Street and a Supreme Court ruling this morning about foreign aid. Plus, we're recapping some of this week's top stories we're following, including that shooting in downtown Chico as a local barber is fighting for his life in the ICU. And today, Chico State hosts Giving Day. We'll tell you what time the giving starts. You're watching Action News Now. Okay, it's time to talk money. The opening of the stock market was 15 minutes ago. People have been watching this closely. Some good news. The Dow is up 183 points and the NASDAQ is up 56. This morning, a divided Supreme Court rejected a Trump administration push to rebuke a federal judge who'd imposed a quick deadline to release billions of dollars in foreign aid. By a 5-4 vote, today the court told U.S. District Judge Amir Ali to clarify his earlier order that required the Republican administration to release nearly $2 billion in aid for work that had already been done. And we're looking at some of the top stories that we're following this week as we learn more about the victim in Friday's shooting in downtown Chico. Chico barber George Ramirez III is fighting for his life in the ICU. Chico police say the suspect, Michael Oxley, shot him several times in the head, neck, and shoulder while he was sitting in his car. This happened Friday at City Parking Lot 1 on Flume Street. George Ramirez worked as a barber, and his former colleagues say they're stunned that someone shot him. We've reached out to the Chico Police Department and are waiting to learn more about what led up to Friday night's shooting and the possible motive. The Oroville City Council voted unanimously to adopt a resolution declaring Oroville to be a non-sanctuary city. That declaration means that in opposition to California law, SB 54, the city of Oroville will cooperate with federal immigration authorities. SB 54 was passed in 2018 to restrict local law enforcement from helping ICE in immigration enforcement. City council members were advised by the Oroville city attorney that passing the declaration does not necessarily shield the city or its employees from any state prosecution or consequences for violating SB 54. And today, Chico State University hosts Giving Day. This worldwide event raises funds for campus causes. There will be live music, and groups will be there to generate money for clubs and community programs. The event will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. today at Trinity Commons. It is 6:48. You're never more than 10 minutes away from getting that important local weather information to help you plan your day. And Court is tracking some incoming rain. And how much rain are we going to get, Court?
Well, Kelly, it looks like a pretty decent dose now for today. Most of what we're going to be seeing hitting the ground is expected to arrive mid to late afternoon and ramp up into this evening. And for the valley, the lion's share of that could potentially be from some thunderstorm activity popping up with locally heavy showers around any thunderstorms that do develop. I did want to check in, though. I was showing you those rain totals for what's projected for today, up to around a half an inch today into early tomorrow for the valley. Here's where we stand so far for the wet season. This starts October 1st, and this is through this date. Shasta Dam has seen nearly 55 inches of rain. Redding, 32 inches already. 24, nearly 25 inches for Chico. Red Bluff, nearly 21.5 inches. Corning over 19 inches. Oroville over 22 inches, nearly 23 inches now. And Oroville Dam, 31 inches. The average year, here's what we normally see for these areas. So check this out. For the Shasta Dam, more than 9 inches above average for rainfall, more than 7.5 inches over average for Redding, 5.5 inches plus over average for Chico. Oroville is the one city that's just below average, and that's by 1/3 of an inch. But it looks like we may be picking that up later today into early tomorrow. So we're still looking very good as far as those wet season rain totals across our region.
Thanks for the update, Court. Super interesting. Can relationships survive political differences? In this week's Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by Happy at Home, anchor Haley Watts brings us some advice from the pros on keeping the peace.
I've had issues with family members and peers at school, definitely.
Politics, that thing you're not supposed to talk about, seems to be all anyone can talk about lately.
Having a different political preference or whatever, does that stop you from becoming friends with somebody?
Oh, no, it doesn't, honestly. I try not to, as either if it's friends or if I was dating somebody, I try not to get it into, like, just conflicts or anything like that.
Some of my team members here at Action News Now are pretty good at navigating this. But according to a recent 5,000-person survey from Oddspedia, 1 in 6 Americans has ended or considered ending a relationship because of political differences. I asked a psychologist why.
Romantic relationships don't really fall apart because of personality differences. They fall apart because of
class differences.
Basically, if you're in a different place financially and see the world through a different socioeconomic lens, it can be more challenging to see eye to eye. I like to keep the peace, and I admit there have been times I've intentionally adjusted my views on things to save a relationship.
Was that a betrayal to my truth, or is that just staying open-minded and not living in an echo chamber? I don't know. Do you ever recommend people try to fight their own what feels like their truth, but maybe it's just what their cultural learning?
So when you do that, you give rise to a concept called cognitive dissonance, where you basically are going against the grain. You're going against what your natural inclination is, what your natural predisposition is, and that feels very uncomfortable.
Okay, don't change yourself. Got it. But then, how do we stop arguing?
Try to remember why you love this person in the first place. And I think at kind of the end of the rope, if you follow it all the way, you'll almost always find a fear.
Dr. Hafiz says as animals, we have a parasympathetic nervous system that triggers us to protect ourselves when we're afraid. And that's why we get so emotionally invested in our belief systems. Recognizing that can help us find mutual compassion and help us grow.
Like, listen, I know this rubs you the wrong way, but let me tell you where I'm coming from. Let me tell you what happened when I was 5 years old. Let me tell you what happened when I was 12 years old. I'm afraid of going back to that place. And I think so many people would find common ground once they realize that they're both operating from a place of fear.
My well-adjusted team here also has some wisdom to share.
I'm a big proponent for communication. I want to talk to people. I want to learn about people.
Try to look at a person as an individual, and they can have their own opinions, their own stances on stuff, but at the end of the day, it's more about how a person treats you and how they make you feel.
Dr. Hafiz says if you're feeling stressed out in general about things that you can't control, you may want to evaluate your social media feeds. Take a break from scrolling, or at least make sure you're not consuming too much content that takes away from your mental well-being. It is 6:52. Don't miss the top 5 stories you need to know about today. We're counting them down straight ahead. And checking your drive, a live look at Highway 99 at Garner Lane in Chico. Smooth sailing out on the roads today.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6. Mic check 1 2 3. Yeah, got it.
Here are the top 5 stories you need to know about today. Some big changes are coming to make the roads safer in the South Campus area near Chico State. Action News Now reporter Diego Moctezuma is live at West 4th and Cherry Streets in Chico. Diego, what changes are happening there?
Well, Kelly, where I'm at is just one of the 19 intersections where yield signs like these will be made into stop signs. Chico City Council member Addison Winslow tells me the work will fix the inconsistency of stop signs and yield signs. He says there has been minor and deadly collisions in years past here on the south side of campus near downtown, and they hope this will reduce that risk of accidents in the future. The two-way stop at Eaton Road and Mariposa Avenue will also be changed to a four-way stop. Winslow tells me Public Works could start installing these stop signs as soon as next week. Back to you, Kelly.
Today, the Bidwell Mansion arsonist Kevin Carlson will learn how long he'll spend behind bars. He faces up to 11 years in prison. Carlson was arrested January 2nd after prosecutors say surveillance footage showed him walking toward the Bidwell Mansion moments before the fire started on December 11th, then leaving minutes later. He'll be in court today at 1:30 p.m. We'll have a quarter there in the courtroom and bring you reaction to the sentencing on tonight's shows. New this morning, Reading police responded to a domestic violence incident late last night. There was a large police presence in the area of Mission de Oro Drive in northeast Reading that has since dispersed. Reading police said they responded to a domestic violence call shortly after 10 last night. At this time, police could not confirm if anyone was injured or arrested. Reading police say they'll release more information later today.
We have imminent collapse coming from either the scaffolding or the tower.
For the first time, we're showing you what the first firefighters at the scene saw when they pulled up to see the Bidwell Mansion already engulfed in flames on the morning of December 11th. I got my hands on this helmet camera video from Chico Fire Department. The firefighters expressed surprise that this was initially dispatched as just an illegal burn, not a full structure fire. We also heard the firefighters calling for Cal Water to boost the water to the hydrants. The fire had burned for more than 1 hour before it was reported. Investigators are looking into why the fire alarm did not sound that morning, and I've reached out to the alarm company for an explanation. I'll update you as I learn more about that part of the story. Butte County is asking for your opinion on the updated fire hazard severity zone map before the public comment period closes. The state fire marshal and CAL FIRE recently released this updated local responsibility area fire hazard severity zone map for Butte County. Places highlighted in red like Paradise and Northeast Chico, those areas indicate very high fire hazards. After the new maps are released, the county opens a 90-day public comment period. You can ask questions and give feedback. The last day to do that is May 13th. To see the full map and get more information, go to our website, look under news and then news links. And you don't have to